In thinking about the transition between pricing structures, you mentioned fixed, you mentioned value. Is there any advice, and even moving from hourly, which I'm certain a lot of these firms will be doing. So in thinking about the transition between pricing structures, is there any advice to avoid unsettling longstanding clients?
All I can tell you, Seth, is what I hear from the large firms and mid-sized firms that have tried to go to value pricing. It's not the client that resists, it's partners or people that have been around the firm a long time, because this is a whole different way of thinking and it's a different economic model. The clients are more than willing to do this because they know what to budget under this scenario. And under the other scenario where they virtually give you a blank check and you bill them every month based upon the hours, there's some surprises throughout the year. So I think clients like this. Now there's going to be an exception, but you had not avoid doing what's right just because one person's going to tell you they don't want to do it.
Well, and Seth, what I've found, and you ask a really great question here, what I've found in speaking to accountants or accounting firms that are moving more towards the value pricing model is actually they're actually verifying that they're a trusted advisor, because for the most part, clients will understand the value if you position it right, and so they're getting a level of success there. And quite honestly, there's a number of clients that have been underpaying you for your service, and they may not want to go to the new model. And based on the fact that you're developing a client advisory services practice, you actually have greater ability to let clients go that don't see the value in what you provide, because you're going to get larger engagements, because the value of your advice is so much greater than the compliance and transaction work that you've done in the past. So at the end of the day, it may be scary to some people listening to this webcast, but it's a leap that's worth taking, because it will transform your practice as well as the businesses that you support.
Gary, you mentioned this very briefly in an earlier question, and this will finalize the packaging and pricing portion of our questioning. What resources within the CAS program that you both now have would you point to as the most useful in addressing packaging and pricing issues?
Well, I think there's a couple, and there's probably actually more, but you know, the fact that you have a toolbox doesn't mean that you use every tool every day. And some of the most important ones are a sample menu, and each firm's menu is probably going to be a little different. It may be a little different in service niches as well, but just having one that's laid out and you don't have to start with a blank sheet of paper is one of the most valuable things I think we have. Another one would be the questions around pricing and CAS services. In fact, we have one tool called the Performance Management Questionnaire, and Jim Boomer likes to say, and Mark Stout, they like to call it the 45 pickup lines, and it's really 45 questions in 9 different areas, and you would never use all 45. But you might talk to your clients about their governance, and if they've looked at their contracts, their life insurance policies recently. You could talk to them about technology. You could talk to them about talent development, also about performance and HR. And in all these areas, there's 5 starter questions, and that just gets the conversation going. I think that's very valuable. It's not that someone couldn't design this themselves, but time is of the essence, and to get this all in, or access to all of it in a 2-day session, I think is very valuable.
Yeah, and I think Gary brings up a really great point. Yes, you can do some exercises in the toolkit which will be valuable and begin to get you on that journey to setting better pricing and packaging. But I've got to tell you that the workshop itself and being able to share those best practices and going through exercises is really critical in packaging and pricing, most certainly. And the other thing that I would also suggest is, as you go through the toolkit and that menu of services sample, that's going to really onboard you in a way to taking that journey in the right way. And also with the menu of services, they have a large list of them there that they provide for you to consider. But this is also an exercise in picking out the ones that are best for your vertical and for your best clients, because your best clients are going to speak more highly of you more regularly and get you that referral business. So back to the menu of services and the pricing, it's really going to benefit them most to get that menu of services, pick a handful to start, build on it over time, and then use workshops and the network of the SAN network and the Boomer Consulting Group to begin to share best practices with each other, whether it's in the workshop or even outside in the network, the relationships that you establish as a result of being part of this client advisory services family.